Welcome to another edition of Two Sites Unite. I am George Phillips with oilpressure.com.
And I'm Paul Dalby, I guess still with field of 33.com.
Yeah, I was going to say it's kind of a misnomer when we call this Two Sites Unite when it's been what, a year and a half since you posted anything?
It's probably almost 2 years. Yeah. Yeah.
I think August of 24.
Oh, well, I guess you know it better than I do. Yes,
No,
it's somewhat dormant at this point. Yes.
no, but well, we can't call it one take only because someone would get upset.
And I don't want to be confused.
Anyway, so, lot to talk about. First week in May, obviously the passing of Alex Zanardi, that's been on everybody's mind. But then also this week is the Soncio Grand Prix, formerly known as the Grand Prix of Indianapolis.
And
Um,
Angie's List Grand Prix.
yeah, I think there was something else in there too. Um, and we were talking right before we started filming this, and what did you say?
I said, well, it's not a very thin limb to go out and say Alex Plo is probably likely to win the pole, lead all but 4 laps during pit stop shuffle, and probably win by 20 plus seconds.
I don't think you're going to be too far off.
Yeah.
He's won this race for the last 3 years, and I see no reason why we would expect that to change going into this race. I mean, he's won three of the five races this season, including the very last one. So he's got momentum,
Yeah.
and um, it's possible that Scott Dixon could win it. Even a Graham Rahal, he does well on this track. But I don't expect anybody else to win except Alex Palou.
No, the only other driver that I probably thought, kind of gives him a run is no longer there, that being Colton Herta. Could Kyle Kirkwood step up maybe? Uh, I don't feel like the Penske guys, at least the Penske guys that remain, have traditionally been very strong
What about
on
Will
the
Power?
Indianapolis
Do you
road.
think? I mean, Will Power's won this race what, three, maybe at least three times?
Well, he has, but I don't think any of those have come since COVID. We started out this race back in 2014, and it was either Power or Pagano for the first, what, 5, 6 years?
Yeah,
Yeah, something like
through
that.
through 19, I think.
Yeah, yeah, and I don't know that either of them have really competed very well since then. So, well, obviously Pagano won't be
No,
competing well, but in his last couple of years, he wasn't particularly strong. And Power, yeah, he may show okay. I don't think he's going to beat Pillow. I don't think anyone's going to beat Pillow. Um,
I don't want to belabor this too much because I do want to get to talking about the real reason why we celebrate the month of May. But I was talking to another member of the media. We'll just say that when I was at the open test last week, and and I will say this person he brought it up. I did not bring this up, but it's a good question to ponder. And he asked, "Has the Grand Prix run its course?" And and why he was saying that is because it seems to have peaked with its crowd. Um, I think it probably peaked in the 2015, 16, 17, that area. And as he said, um, most of the populace in Indianapolis and surrounding counties don't even know that race exists.
and I don't disagree with you. And I think you and I, being the old curmudgeon men yelling at clouds, obviously we would love to see qualifying for the 500 go back to 2 weekends. To me, more importantly than the 2 weekends, I would prefer to see the 2 weeks of practice where teams can focus one week on getting into the race and the second week on focusing on the race themselves. Unfortunately, those days are gone, and it's just not going to happen anymore. So I guess then the question becomes: if the Grand Prix doesn't happen here, what do you do?
Exactly. In fact, well, then this same person, who will go unnamed, by the way, I don't want to incriminate anyone, but he said that no, this is his words, not mine, because I've never heard this. I don't know if he's just speculating or if he has heard something from within, but his feeling is that Roger Penske would love to cut qualifying down to a 4-day weekend. Practice Thursday, Friday, qualify Saturday, Sunday, and that's it.
Well, I don't think he is alone in that. You and I have had discussions as well. It seems like Legends Day has been substantially curtailed. Um, excuse me. Um, so it kind of has lost that environment or that vibe of a full weekend event. Especially a lot of people, myself included, are very disappointed that the Freedom 100 isn't part of Carb Day anymore. Um,
Well, we got the
why I
we
don't.
got the Weenie 500 now.
Oh, that's true. That's true. But why I don't think it'll go to a 4-day weekend under Roger Penske is I think Roger has made it very clear that he doesn't want to risk something happening in any way possible as much as he can the weekend of the race. So if you had to use the track on Saturday and you open up the possibility of some catastrophic event happening on that Saturday that detracts from the main event on
Well,
Sunday, I don't think Rogers up for
I
that.
don't think he was saying qualify the same weekend as the race. He was saying cut off 2 more days of practice.
Mm, okay,
And
I misunderstood. I thought you were talking about a 4-day event, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
no,
Um, I I don't know, maybe, but I still begs the question though. I think IndyCar for the foreseeable future will continue to have an IMS oval test in late April. I think that will stay, especially as we get toward 27, 28, with the new cars and engines coming into vogue. I don't think we're going to get rid of that. And I don't know that you really want to go to Indianapolis to do the open test and then go somewhere else, whether that's, put Barber at the beginning of May or, at one point they were running Brazil at the beginning of May. I know they ran Kansas when they were still at the Kansas Speedway. They ran that beginning of May.
yeah.
I just don't think you want to go to the track, leave the track, and then come back and move in.
And this year is the first time that I'm sure it's been done before, but this is the first time I can remember when we had the test in April and did not go anywhere else.
What you when you and I went one of the first tests they had, and I know
It was in
it would
2018.
it was 2018, and it would have been May 30th because I remember people were calling it the May Zero test that year, and I don't remember. Did they have a race after that?
I don't think so,
Okay.
because that was after Brazil. And it was really after COVID, I think, when they moved Barber into May.
But getting back to your original point, I I don't think that there's somewhere else that they're going to be able to go Mother's Day weekend and draw, we don't know that number, but 50,000 maybe
That's my
40 to
guess.
60,000 somewhere
I,
in that
I, I
ballpark
would
is a
guess
fair
50, but
guess.
that is strictly a guess.
Sure, sure. But where else are you going to be able to get that? You have a home race for almost all of your teams. Well, a good number of the teams. You've got the infrastructure already in place because you're doubling up on, the television network and all that stuff that's already there for the 500.
Yeah, they don't have to
It's
pay
a
a
cheap
promoter.
race for them to put on.
Right.
I, from that stand, I just don't see it going away.
Well, and I did take your stance. When I was talking to this person, I was disagreeing. I was saying that it's not a stellar event. I enjoy going there. I mean, it's been a while since you've been there, I think, but we're heading up Friday morning, and we'll be there through the weekend, and as usual, we're going to do our 3 weekends in a row in May. But it's more just the excitement of being there and eating at Dawson's and blah, 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 doing the May things more than it is, boy, I can't wait to see what happens in this race.
Yeah, yeah. It's never a thrilling race by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, they've had a couple. It was interesting the year it rained, and was it Pagano that chased down Dixon, or the other way around? And somebody came
It
from
was
the end.
Pagenaud that chased down Dixon, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good race. It was okay. It was
Yeah,
fine, but
and Colton Herta has that had that moment that they keep
right,
showing videos of.
right. But I mean, other than they never put on races that we put on season long highlights very often.
No. So
So,
I think we've devoted about as much time as we need to the Sunshine Grand Prix, however you pronounce it. It will be on Fox at 4:30 Eastern Time on Saturday, not Sunday. So check your local listings. Um, but you mentioned the open test, and I was there at the open test, and it was very enjoyable. I haven't been to every one, but I have been to most of them since you and I went in 2018.
mhm.
Um, this was one of the more enjoyable ones. I don't know if it was because of the weather. Um, I don't know if it was my mindset or whatever, but
Being
for what
retired these days
well, I
probably
am
makes it.
retired, so that and I am devoting a lot more time. I devote a lot of time in April just to watching videos
Uh-huh.
that I probably would not get a chance to watch at night while I was working. Um, so suffice it to say, I am in race mode where sometimes in May my race mode has been somewhat diminished.
Hmm.
Um, maybe that was it. I don't know. It was just a very good time, and I left there excited to be coming back in a week and a half instead of, oh God, I got to make this drive again in a week and a half.
Wow.
So it was good. I liked. I mean, every year you go and you see something that's been done or some change that's been made. Uh, the only one that comes to mind right now is they put in new stainless steel stalls in between the urinals in the media center bathroom. But that's an improvement. Um, oh, and also they switched the fountain drinks in the media center and throughout the track really from Pepsi to Coke.
That's one of the better decisions they've
That is
made
a
for a
big
while.
improvement because
Yes,
I am
absolutely.
definitely a Coke drinker.
Yes. Well, I was too back when I was on the dark stuff, but uh, yeah, definitely an vast improvement.
So, but
Shout out to our friend James Black, though, who I think got your heart racing a little bit when you asked about a temporary structure that appeared to be being put together behind the pagoda, and he told you that was where your new media center was going to be.
well, it was the temporary stage that they used for the Rev thing, and they used it Saturday night, and I'm assuming it's already been torn down. But yeah, that was interesting. But um, But it was a good chance just to, I always get excited to see new livery because this is the first time I've seen cars in person all year. I haven't been to a race this year.
Yeah.
So it was very good just to hear the cars, see the cars. Some look different. I'm not in love with the Catherine Legg livery. It looks worse in person for whatever
It
reason.
doesn't look good, not in person.
No, it doesn't. But um, some of the cars that actually look better in person than I was expecting. One that comes to mind is the Ed Carpenter livery, and he calls it the Slim Fast Special. And when they posted pictures of it on social media back in, I guess, March, um, I was thinking, ooh, that car does not look good at all. It looks a lot better in person.
Okay.
So,
Is the Malukas car still more pink in person?
yes,
Okay. So
that's
odd. It's very odd.
well. Remember the old Marlboro
Uh-huh.
Chevron cars?
Yep.
They looked red on television and in print, but they were
They
day
were
glow
almost your
orange.
Tennessee orange on your helmet back there, which, as I look at it now, does not look like like the orange that I know that Tennessee is.
It's probably the lighting.
It could be,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Um, have I've always had a small little Tennessee helmet back there, but when I cleaned my office out, that was in my office, so that's a full size helmet, so that now has the place of honor there.
Well, there you go. Right next to
Um,
the beautiful picture of the Borg Warner that I took many years ago.
yes,
I
there's
love that
that,
picture.
and my all my memorabilia over there, and the picture of my mother. Don't
And Eloise.
Yeah, and also the green chair from IMS back there. So,
It's not painted, is it?
um, getting back to the track, surprisingly, one surprise is an AJ Foyt car led the 2 day practice, and even more surprisingly, it was not Santino Ferrucci, and it was not Catherine Legg either. But
No, they bookend the time charts, unfortunately. For
yeah, but Caio Collet, he he's not bad.
no,
Um, some people say they're not surprised he was up there. They are surprised that he led the 2 day test.
yeah.
But and as you know, and everyone else knows, you can't read anything into what comes out of the test because different teams, different
Yeah,
cars are working on different programs.
I hear that, and I don't buy that. I do not buy that.
So
I
do you think all three Andretti cars are just gonna be in the toilet all month of May?
Do I think they're in the toilet? No, no. But I don't think. I think when you look at some of the people who need to start getting concerned and they're already in their oh crap, here we are again mode. You look at 23rd, uh, 32nd, and 20th. 20th, 22nd, and 23rd, you find Mick Schumacher, Graham Rahal, and Louis Foster. Then you got to scroll way up the sheet, all the way up to 7th to find their senior citizen part timer Takuma Sato, who jumps in and goes fast again. I don't think they wanted to be that low and that they're only there just because we're working on a number of different programs. I think there's going to be concern again. Obviously, the concern is less that they don't have any bump opportunities this year.
Right, but back when Graham did get bumped and a couple of years surrounding that, he was a perennial resident of the last row. And
He's not racing up the speed chart, pardon the term. Uh, I don't think Graham leaves this test in 22nd thinking, oh, we're in a good spot. We checked a lot of boxes,
no,
and I'm pleased with the program that
I do
we got.
think the Andretti cars, I don't think they're I don't think they left the track on Wednesday afternoon scratching their heads wondering what went wrong.
I cannot imagine that Marcus Ericsson is pleased being 31st on the combined charts.
Probably not pleased, but I don't think he's going, oh my God, what's happened?
I mean, he's more than 3 miles an hour off the fast. I just have the chart here is what I'm looking at. He's more than
I
three
don't have it in
miles per
front of me,
hour
so
off of the top speed.
okay.
And he did that in session two. So he didn't even set a fast time on the second day. I just, I hear that and people say that all the time, like, oh, we're working on different things. And, here they come late in practice on Thursday afternoon. They're still working on different things. and obviously are not happy with their race car.
Well, to support what you're saying, Kevin Lee has pointed out that I think in like 8 of the last 10 tests or whatever it's been that, or however many, that the winner has come from the top 10 out of the test almost every year.
I believe it. I believe it. Um, you know, people or teams or drivers will say, "Yeah, we're working on a lot of different things. We're not terribly concerned." When we're around 20 or something. Well, guess what? The guys in the top 10, they're working on different things as well. So it's not like they're just going to sit around and be like, "Oh, you know what? We had a great test. Let's just stick with what we got there." No, they're going to be scratching and clawing and improving as well. So I do I think that this is going to mirror the starting lineup? No, of course not. And it certainly isn't going to mirror the finishing order. Um, but I think there's stuff to be read into this. Um, you see Pillow and Dixon in the top eight, and then you find Kiffin Simpson at 30. I don't think that's an anomaly.
No,
Um, I mean, you can look through this and see a number of different
you
things.
know, and I'm mercifully changing the subject. But the other day I was watching last year's race, and I was reminded of the horrible looking livery that Kevin Simpson had last year. The Journey
Oh,
sponsorship is just
the
it
one that you
looked,
said reminded you of Stefan Gregoire.
yeah, it reminded me of the Malos car,
Yeah,
and he's gone from probably the ugliest livery on the grid to maybe the best looking livery on the grid with the Sunoco car.
the turbo entry.
No.
Was it the turbo? Turbo was Sunoco. Don't you remember when Townsend Bell drove that
Well,
car back
that
in what
that that was more of a
20?
yellow car with blue trim. This is a blue car with yellow trim.
Was it more yellow? I don't
Yeah,
remember
it
that.
was more yellow.
I just remember the hat that he wore, and yeah.
Those were bad times. But yeah, give Townsend Bell just another reason to try to draw attention to himself.
hmm
But I'll take Townsend Bell any day to Will Buxton, but we won't get into that. But getting back to watching last year's race, even though it did have Will Buxton calling it, I had forgotten just what a good race that was.
The first 100 miles or the first 100 laps. I thought
Um,
the last 300 miles got a bit processional. There wasn't a whole lot that really happened, as I recall.
uh, well, that's when for a while there, it certainly looked like Ryan Hunter-Reay was going to win the race. Then he had his pit issue.
Yeah.
There were a lot of pit issues in
Well, we've
last.
had a lot of pit issues the last several years. How many drivers over the last probably, I mean, let's just think post COVID, have crashed into the pit wall coming in for pits? VK did it. Um, did Bourdais do it several years ago? Why? For
I don't know. I can't.
there have been a couple of I can think of at least three. Catherine Legg, I thought, did it last year too, where they've just locked up coming into the pits and driven straight into the inside pit wall. A lot of pit issues,
Yeah,
and of course Dixon had his pit issue.
yeah.
2 years, 2 years he's had pit
And
issues.
then of course Robert Schwartzman had his issues in the pits.
VK took out Pillow in the pits. So yeah,
Yeah. And then of course Townsend Bell and Hunter Ray took out each other as teammates in the
oh
pits
yeah.
one year.
Well, that was a 2016 race. Yeah.
I couldn't tell you what it was, but I just remember it happening because it was right in front of our seats.
Yep. hmm
But but one person that we did not mention from the test, and I know it's first week in May. There's going to be a lot of stuff to take place between now and then, including another race and qualifying, but and a week of practice. well, 4 days of practice. But um, I'm not ready to make a pick to win the 500. But I will tell you somebody that maybe I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, but somebody that I am very impressed with to at least get an honorable mention to be considered a contender.
You are really building this suspense.
Connor Daly. You're not impressed.
I want to believe that. Um, but I'm not sure who gives me more hesitation in that pick, Connor himself or Dreyer and Reinbold.
Dreyer and Reinbold, once again, maybe I drink the Kool-Aid because I've been hearing too many people talk and praise them. They are they're on the way up.
I
Um,
I don't disagree, and they put good car. Ryan Hunter-Ray had a great car last
and
year.
that was his backup. That was a show car. That was their pit stop car. Because remember,
Yep,
he he
they
he cooked his
caught the
primary
one on.
car on Carb Day.
Yeah, it caught on fire, right? And then the year before that, did they run Connor the year before? Um,
Yeah, Connor drove. He drove for Juncos last year,
right.
but
But
I
yeah,
think
they.
he drove. I think he drove for them in 24. But he's. I was at the press conference last week when he was saying. Of course, obviously, he's going to talk well about his team, but he said that when I last drove for them in 24, or whenever it was, um, they had already improved that team substantially. Now that I'm back, they are light years ahead of where they were even then.
Yeah, and I think they have put together good cars. My concern is that neither Dreyer and Reinbold nor Connor have found a way to be in the mix in the last 50 laps previously. Connor 20, 22, 23, forget which year that was, but he was leading a lot of the first 100 laps. And didn't he get hit by Graham Rahaal's tire after he crashed? At one year, he had the Gary Bettenhausen syndrome where
Yeah,
tire just fell out of the sky.
yeah,
And
I remember that. That was when he was driving that Tuskegee Airman car. Had that red nose on it.
oh, that's right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's just like bad luck somehow seems to always find Connor. And I say bad luck, bad fortune, whether of his own doing, which quite honestly, I can't remember at Indianapolis where he has really caused such a problem. I'm just leery that neither the car nor the team or the driver nor the team have been able to put themselves in contention when it mattered. They both showed well. Hunter-Ray obviously showed well last year until what about 160 or something like that. Connor's had good runs as well, but they've never been able either separately to put everything together to be in that dash at the end or really even in contention at the end. And I mean that goes back a while. I would love to see it happen.
Yeah, I would too. Because I mean, he's had some good runs there. Um, but we'll see. But I didn't say he was going to win, but I think you can count him at this early stage as a contender.
Yeah, in the trackside realm, I'd probably have him as a low second tier, high tier three sort of guy.
I'm going to have him higher than that.
You what?
I said I will have him higher than that.
Okay.
So, all right, we have 8 minutes to go here
Okay.
on my free version of Zoom.
Okay, let's look at the timesheet just to kind of pick some other things that maybe we may have raised an eyebrow. We obviously touched on Colette leading it. I would think you would have to think that's a little bit of a surprise, but remember that was David Malukas' car last year. And he obviously gave it a good ride, finishing third, getting promoted to second, and was there at the end. So not completely shocking. Obviously Newgarden, Daly, Palou, and O'Ward in the top six. Maybe Elio ending up fifth is a little bit of a surprise. Um, I'll tell you the next one that kind of surprises me. Maybe it shouldn't, but Romain Grosjean in 11th. Not sure what to make of that.
No,
I'm not sure it really matters either, because
I don't think it does.
I think the odds of him finishing are only infinitesimally smaller than either you or I going 500 miles in race day as well. Uh,
um, that team has had some issues since the season started.
mhm.
Um, they lost Mitch Davis. He retired suddenly. Um, and kind of sounds like Michael Cannon disappeared before Long Beach and he's not coming back.
Yeah. Um, Michael Cannon just plays whack-a-mole all the time. You
Yeah,
always think he's gone, and then he pops up over there, over there.
yeah,
You never know where he's going to be next.
I'm kind of beginning to maybe apply the word flake to him.
At some point, a trend is a trend.
Yeah. But that team looked to be on the up and up at St. Pete, and Hauger's had an okay season for a rookie. Nothing great, but they don't have people in the pit stand like they did 3 months ago.
Right. And I don't think that they're not going back immediately to where they were with Sebastian Bourdais back in 2018, 2019, when they were legitimate contenders for
Yeah.
the pole. But, it's nice to see them back up there. Jacob Abel in 13th.
See, now you talk about something good for them, but I think when it comes down to real practice, I think you're going to see them struggle.
Yeah,
I'm
I don't
I'm not
know.
sold yet.
I'm not sold either, but I mean, that's a nice showing. And um, uh, do we know who's the sponsor on his car? Do we know yet?
It looks like Sherwin-Williams white paint.
Ooh, so we might still get the Miller American flashback.
I wish we would get that the Miller
The
Gold.
Miller High Life?
Yeah,
Yes.
the '89 Danny Sullivan car
88, 89. Yes,
where it
absolutely.
really looks like that instead of that bronze theme that Elio at Newgarden ran a couple of times. And
Yeah, that was ugly. That was horrendous. Let's see. Then you come through McLaughlin. You got to think he's got something to prove. He'll be aggressive. Santino at 16th. I think he'll be higher than that. Um, Lundgaard. I'm not sure what to make of Lundgaard in
it's not
21st.
his best track.
It's not his best track, but he was still strong last year. Um, I'll tell you someone else who I would put a little bit of money on to get a nice top 10 finish and wouldn't totally shock me. Ran well here last year and actually led a few laps. Stingray Rob.
No.
I feel like he seems to somehow find himself up there and last year, but if he would have got a late yellow, there's a chance he could have been in the top 3 or 4.
He ended up
Or
in the
wait, no, 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 no. I'm
wall.
sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No, no. I'm thinking of a different year. Never mind. Sorry.
In fact, I can't think of a year when he finished. He's usually in the wall. I know he's in the wall with Coin.
Well, he
He,
he led. I bet he. I'd be curious. I bet he might be. I'm gonna have to go check this out.
I
I
was a,
wonder of
I was
the
I
entries
was
this
in
year. Is he in the top 10 for laps led of the entries this year?
what? Say that again?
Is he in the top 10 of laps led amongst this year's entries?
No. I don't have
Didn't he
that.
lead? I
I
thought
don't
he
have that
led
number,
almost
but I can
40.
tell you no.
I thought he led about 40 laps a few years ago.
No, that was 2 years ago. That was in the big rain delay race two
I thought
years
he
ago.
led quite a few.
And it wasn't 40, it was maybe I mean, that's more than a stint, more than a fuel stint.
I know.
Well,
Well, we've only got 2 minutes and 40 seconds, so we're not going
yeah.
to get to
So,
fact check
yeah,
this.
we don't we we'll have another one of these before the race, and
Oh, I
we'll
was going to ask you if we were because we're running out of time for picks, so that's good.
yeah. So I'll no, we'll definitely have another one of these on day of the race. So, but anyway, I know you're not going to the Grand Prix. You're not going to qualifying because good excuse. I'll give you a pass this year because your son is graduating high school.
Valedictorian before he is off to become a Purdue Boilermaker in the fall.
So uh so we'll give you a pass on that.
I
And
appreciate that. Thank you.
you will be at the race.
I will be at the race. I'll be at Carb Day, I think, and I'll try to probably sneak over for one day of practice. Perhaps opening day. I'm not sure. Kind of got to check schedules.
Okay. All right. Well, the clock is ticking down. So unless you want to spring to upgrade my Zoom,
No, no, I don't.
but
I
so
will let
anyway,
you and
well,
your 2005 shirt move along nicely.
I'm glad you noticed that.
Yeah.
I I was wondering if you were going to. I grabbed this vintage shirt out of the closet. We I sent you that link to the Mates White Front T-shirt
Uh-huh.
today,
Would love that
and
t-shirt.
that's a vintage site. Well, I don't need to go to a vintage. You know, I,
Your house is a vintage
yeah.
site.
I mean, I bought this shirt 21 years ago.
21 years ago. My,
Yes.
my, my.
But anyway,
Gosh, I can't believe that race was 21 years ago.
we're under a minute now, so we will wrap this up. Anything else quickly?
Nope, that'll do for me.
Okay. So for Paul Dalby, I am George Phillips with oilpressure.com. Thank you for watching.